Welcome back, dear viewers and coin lovers, to our channel where hidden history meets unbelievable value and where everyday pocket change can secretly hold life-changing wealth. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious stories in modern coin collecting, a story that proves that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. Because today we are talking about the legendary 1997 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, stunned experts, and sparked worldwide curiosity due to rare errors and unexpected mistakes that have pushed its potential value as high as $12 million. And as you listen closely from beginning to end, you may start looking at your own coins in a completely different way, because what seems ordinary may actually be extraordinary. The 1997 1-cent was minted in a year that most people remember as completely normal. There were no major design changes, no commemorative themes, and no dramatic announcements from the mint, yet behind the scenes, subtle mechanical failures, human oversights, and rare production anomalies combined to create a perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and desirability that now places certain examples of this coin among the most valuable small denomination coins ever imagined. The story begins at the United States Mint, where millions upon millions of 1-cent coins are produced every year using high-speed presses, massive dies, and carefully prepared metal blanks. Yet even in the most advanced facilities, perfection is never guaranteed, and in 1997 several unusual circumstances occurred during the minting process that allowed flawed coins to slip through unnoticed. These errors were not immediately discovered because most pennies are circulated without inspection, spent without thought, and stored without care. But decades later, collectors began noticing strange characteristics on certain 1997 cents that could not be explained by normal wear or damage. One of the most important contributing factors to the $12 million valuation is the presence of extremely rare die errors, including dramatic doubled dies that show visible separation in the lettering, date, and Lincoln's profile. Unlike minor doubling caused by machine vibration, these doubled dies were the result of misaligned die impressions during the die creation process, meaning the error was permanently embedded into the die itself and repeated across a small batch of coins. What makes the 1997 doubled die cent so exceptional is the clarity and strength of the doubling, especially on the date and the word Liberty, where even the naked eye can detect separation. Collectors prize such coins because they represent a frozen moment of mechanical failure that can never be recreated. Adding to this rarity is the existence of off-metal strikes discovered on a handful of 1997 cents. Some were struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coins, resulting in unusual weight, color, and metallic composition. These off-metal errors are extremely rare because quality control usually catches mismatched blanks before striking, yet a few escaped detection and entered circulation, creating a scenario where a simple penny could weigh more or less than expected, exhibit a silver or golden hue, or produce a different sound when dropped. And when authenticated, these coins become instant centerpieces of elite collections. Another major factor contributing to the astonishing value is the discovery of broad strike errors without collars, where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar, causing it to expand outward while remaining flat and fully detailed. These coins appear wider than normal with distorted rims and stretched lettering, and while broad strikes exist for many years, the 1997 examples are particularly rare when combined with other errors such as double dies or off-center strikes. The combination of multiple errors on a single coin dramatically multiplies its value because it represents a convergence of unlikely mistakes occurring simultaneously. Further increasing collector demand is the presence of rotated dies found on select 1997 cents, where the reverse design is misaligned relative to the obverse, sometimes by dramatic angles approaching 90 or even 180 degrees. These rotational errors occur when dies are not properly aligned during installation, and while minor rotations are somewhat common, extreme rotations are rare and highly collectible, especially when paired with strong strike quality and minimal circulation wear. Another extraordinary error that has fueled speculation of multi-million-dollar valuations is the presence of mule coins associated with 1997 cent production. A mule coin occurs when mismatched dies are paired together, such as a cent obverse with a reverse intended for a different denomination or year. While officially confirmed 1997 cent mules are nearly mythical, reports and private discoveries have fueled intense debate within the numismatic community, and even the possibility of an undiscovered mule has driven collector interest to unprecedented levels. Beyond mechanical errors, metallurgical anomalies also play a critical role in the value story of the 1997 1 cent. During the 1990s, the composition of pennies consisted primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, yet inconsistencies in plating thickness and bonding occasionally resulted in coins with exposed zinc cores, bubbling surfaces, or peeling copper layers. While many of these are considered damaged, some examples exhibit mint-caused lamination errors where metal layers failed to bond correctly during blank preparation, creating peeling or flaking surfaces that are visually dramatic and unmistakably mint origin. When preserved in uncirculated condition, such lamination errors become rare visual artifacts of industrial imperfection. Another fascinating category of error involves struck through foreign material, where grease, cloth fibers, or metal shavings became trapped between the die and planchet during striking, leaving ghostly impressions or missing details. Some 1997 cents display large struck-through grease errors that obscure Lincoln's face or parts of the design, creating a surreal appearance that collectors find irresistible. The valuation climbs even higher when these errors are combined with pristine mint state grades, because condition remains king in numismatics. A flawless coin with a dramatic error can command exponentially higher prices than a worn example, and in the rarest cases, top grading services have certified 1997 error cents in exceptionally high mint state levels, pushing their market desirability into elite territory. Adding another layer of intrigue is the mystery surrounding limited discovery, because despite billions of pennies minted in the 1990s, only a tiny number of extreme 1997 error cents have been publicly documented. This scarcity fuels speculation that more may exist undiscovered in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten bank rolls, creating a modern-day treasure hunt that captures the imagination of collectors and casual viewers alike. The idea that a $12 million coin could be sitting unnoticed in a drawer is both thrilling and motivating, driving people to re-examine their change with newfound curiosity. Historical timing also contributes to the legend, because the late 1990s represent a transitional era in mint technology where older equipment overlapped with newer systems, increasing the likelihood of rare anomalies during periods of adjustment. These transitional moments often produce the most interesting errors because procedures are evolving and oversight gaps can emerge. The 1997 cent sits squarely within this context, making it a symbol of technological evolution as much as a collectible object. The psychology of value cannot be ignored either, because high-profile auction results, media coverage, and online speculation all play roles in elevating perceived worth. When collectors believe a coin could be the next record breaker, they are willing to pay extraordinary sums to secure ownership, and as rumors of 8-figure valuations circulate, the mystique of the 1997 cent grows stronger. Even unconfirmed sales and private offers contribute to the narrative, creating an aura of exclusivity and urgency around these coins. It is important to understand that the $12 million figure represents the upper extreme of possibility for a perfect storm example, a coin that combines multiple major errors, exceptional preservation, historical significance, and strong provenance. Such a coin would likely be unique or one of only a few known, making it priceless to the right buyer. Provenance itself adds immense value, because a coin with a documented discovery story, early authentication, and a traceable ownership history becomes more than metal, it becomes a story, and stories sell. Collectors are not just buying a coin, they are buying a piece of history, a conversation starter, and a legacy item that can be passed down through generations. Authentication by top grading services is another essential factor, because the difference between a damaged coin and a mint error can mean the difference between face value and millions. Professional examination using microscopes, weight analysis, metal composition testing, and die study ensures legitimacy, and once a coin is encapsulated and certified, its status in the market becomes secure. The global nature of modern collecting also amplifies value, because buyers from around the world compete for the rarest examples, driving prices upward through international demand. Online platforms and auctions have connected collectors across continents, turning local discoveries into global sensations. Next, the 1996 1 cent coin. Today we welcome you into another thrilling journey that will completely change how you look at loose change, because we are diving deep into the unbelievable story of the 1996 1 cent coin, a humble penny struck at the Denver Mint that under very rare circumstances can be worth an astonishing $11 million, a figure so high it sounds unreal. Yet when you understand the errors, mistakes, and unique possibilities surrounding this coin, the valuation begins to make sense. So stay with us from start to finish, because by the end of this story you may feel compelled to check every penny you own. The year 1996 was a time when pennies were still considered nearly worthless by most people, often discarded in jars, forgotten in drawers, or left behind in take-a-penny trays. Yet at the Denver Mint, millions of 1-cent coins were being produced daily under intense pressure to meet circulation demand, and it was within this fast-paced industrial environment that a series of rare and fascinating minting errors occurred, errors so subtle yet so powerful that decades later they would spark global interest and turn an ordinary coin into a potential fortune. The 1996 1-cent carries the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, a look so common that few ever stop to inspect it closely. But hidden within certain examples are dramatic anomalies that reveal mechanical failures, human oversight, and metallurgical imperfections that escaped quality control. One of the most significant contributors to the $11 million valuation is the presence of rare double die errors, not the minor machine doubling often mistaken by beginners, but true double dies created during the die manufacturing process, where misalignment during hubbing caused the design elements to be impressed more than once in slightly different positions, resulting in visible separation in the date, the word Liberty, the motto, and even Lincoln's profile on the most valuable 1996 double die. Since the doubling is bold, clear, and unmistakable, strong enough to be seen without magnification, and because the error is embedded in the die itself, every coin struck from that die carries the same dramatic features, yet only a small number were released before the die was replaced, creating instant rarity. Adding to this is the fact that Denver Mint double dies are historically scarcer than those from other mints, making a 1996 example even more desirable. Another extraordinary category of error that elevates the value into the millions is the off-center strike, where the coin was not properly seated in the collar during striking, causing part of the design to be missing while the remaining portion is sharply detailed. Extreme off-center strikes that still show a full date and mint mark are particularly valuable because they are instantly identifiable and visually dramatic. And when such an error occurs on a 1996 cent in uncirculated condition, it becomes a trophy piece, especially when combined with other anomalies. Broad strike errors also play a major role, occurring when the collar fails to engage during striking, allowing the metal to expand outward, producing a wider than normal coin with flattened rims and stretched design elements. While broad strikes exist across many years, 1996 examples are rare, and those that remain crisp and well struck command serious attention. Rotated die errors further enhance the mystique of the 1996 penny. These occur when the obverse and reverse dies are misaligned, resulting in a coin where the reverse appears rotated at an unusual angle relative to the obverse. Minor rotations are common, but extreme rotations of 90 degrees or even 180 degrees are highly collectible, especially when verified by professional grading services, and when paired with other errors the value multiplies dramatically. Perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of the 1996 1-cent story involves transitional and planchet-related errors. During the 1990s, pennies were composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, yet inconsistencies in blank preparation sometimes led to improperly bonded layers, resulting in lamination errors where sections of metal peel or flake away, revealing underlying zinc. These mint-caused laminations are distinct from post-mint damage and are highly prized when clearly original. Some 1996 cents exhibit dramatic lamination peels that create a rugged, almost geological appearance, turning a mass-produced coin into a unique artifact. Off-metal strikes add another layer of intrigue, with a very small number of 1996 cents reportedly struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coins, resulting in incorrect weight, unusual coloration, and altered sound when dropped. Such errors are incredibly rare because modern minting systems are designed to prevent mismatched blanks, yet no system is perfect, and when one slips through it creates a numismatic marvel. Struck-through errors are another key factor, occurring when foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, or metal fragments become trapped between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving areas of missing detail or ghostly impressions. Some 1996 cents display large struck-through grease errors that obscure parts of Lincoln's face or the memorial, creating a soft, melted appearance that collectors find captivating. When these errors are extensive and well-preserved, they can command extraordinary premiums. Die breaks and cuds also contribute to the legend. These occur when a die cracks or breaks during use, leaving raised blobs or lines of metal on the coin surface. Major die breaks that dramatically alter the design are far rarer than small cracks, and some 1996 cents are known with large cuds that remove sections of the rim or design, creating a bold and unmistakable error. Condition plays an enormous role in pushing values into the millions, because a coin with spectacular errors but heavy wear loses much of its appeal, whereas a pristine mint state example preserves every detail of the anomaly. Top-graded 1996 error cents certified by leading grading services become elite collectibles, especially when they achieve high numerical grades alongside dramatic errors. Population reports show that such coins are exceedingly rare, sometimes with only 1 or 2 examples known. Scarcity of this magnitude naturally drives intense competition among collectors. Provenance further amplifies value, as a coin with a documented discovery story, early authentication, and traceable ownership history becomes far more desirable than an anonymous example. Stories of a 1996 penny pulled from circulation, identified by a sharp-eyed collector, and later certified as a major error add emotional weight and historical context, making the coin more than just metal. It becomes a narrative of chance and discovery. The psychological aspect of collecting cannot be overlooked, because the idea that a penny could be worth $11 million captures the imagination of both seasoned collectors and casual viewers. It reinforces the belief that hidden treasures still exist and that knowledge can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Media coverage, online forums, and auction speculation all contribute to the rising legend of the 1996 1 cent. Even unconfirmed sales and private offers fuel discussion and keep interest alive. Global demand further escalates value, as collectors from around the world compete for the rarest error coins, turning local finds into international sensations. The 1996 cent benefits from this global marketplace, where a single coin can attract bidders from multiple continents, driving prices higher through competition. Historical context also matters, as the mid-1990s represent a period of technological transition at the mint, where older equipment overlapped with newer systems, increasing the likelihood of unusual errors during calibration changes and process adjustments. These transitional periods are known to produce some of the most interesting anomalies, making the 1996 cent a product of its time as much as a collectible object. The $11 million valuation represents the absolute peak, reserved for a perfect storm example combining multiple major errors, exceptional condition, historical significance, and strong provenance. Such a coin would likely be unique or nearly so, making it priceless to the right buyer. Even lesser error examples command impressive sums, reinforcing the idea that value exists on a spectrum. Not every 1996 penny is valuable, but those that deviate dramatically from the norm hold immense potential. This possibility fuels a modern treasure hunt, encouraging people to examine their change, inherited collections, and old jars with renewed curiosity. The educational impact is profound, as learning about the 1996 cent teaches collectors about minting processes, quality control, metallurgy, and the difference between genuine errors and post-mint damage, empowering them to make informed discoveries. The emotional thrill of finding an error coin cannot be overstated, because it represents a victory of observation and patience, a reminder that history leaves clues for those willing to look closely. The legend of the 1996 1 cent continues to grow as stories circulate. Discoveries are shared, and speculation persists. Even skeptics acknowledge that the combination of known errors, documented anomalies, and undiscovered potential makes this coin one of the most fascinating modern pennies ever discussed. It stands as proof that mistakes can create value, that imperfection can become priceless. Next, 1984 1 cent. Today we warmly welcome you into another deeply fascinating journey that will completely change the way you look at the smallest denomination in your pocket, because we are exploring the unbelievable story of the 1984 1 cent coin. A penny that on the surface looks ordinary and familiar yet under extremely rare and powerful circumstances can be worth as much as $8 million due to a remarkable combination of minting errors, production mistakes, and extraordinary possibilities that have captured the imagination of collectors across the world. And as you stay with us through this entire story, you may find yourself inspired to examine every penny you own with new curiosity and hope. The year 1984 sits at a unique crossroads in United States coinage history, a time when the mint was still adapting to relatively recent changes in penny composition while also operating at massive production levels to meet daily circulation needs, and when millions of coins are struck at high speed using complex machinery. Even the smallest misalignment, oversight, or material flaw can result in a rare anomaly slipping past quality control. The 1984 1 cent was produced in enormous quantities across multiple mints, making it one of the most common pennies in circulation. Yet paradoxically, this very abundance helped rare errors go unnoticed for years because few people bothered to closely inspect such a common coin. One of the most significant contributors to the $8 million valuation is the presence of dramatic double die errors that occurred during the die creation process. True double dies happen when the design hub impresses the die more than once at slightly different angles or positions, causing genuine doubling that appears raised and rounded rather than flat, and on certain 1984 1 cent examples this doubling can be seen in the lettering, the date, and even in Lincoln's facial features, creating a powerful visual effect that instantly sets the coin apart from normal strikes. These errors are embedded into the die itself, meaning every coin struck from that defective die carries the same characteristics until the die is removed, but only a small number typically enter circulation before the problem is detected, creating rarity by default. Another legendary error associated with 1984 pennies is the famous doubled ear variety, most commonly associated with the Denver Mint but conceptually significant to the broader 1984 cent story. This error shows a distinct doubling just below Lincoln's ear that resembles an extra earlobe or shadowed contour, and while many minor forms of doubling are caused by machine vibration, the true doubled ear shows strong separation and rounded contours that are unmistakably the result of die doubling. Collectors have studied this error for decades, and its fame has elevated interest in all 1984 1 cent anomalies, pushing values higher as awareness grows. The possibility that an exceptionally preserved doubled ear or double die 1984 cent could also carry additional major errors is what drives speculation into multi-million-dollar territory, because in numismatics value increases exponentially when multiple rare errors appear together on a single coin. Off-center strikes represent one such powerful possibility, occurring when the planchet is not properly seated in the collar during striking, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing while the remaining portion is sharply defined. Extreme off-center strikes that still display a full date are particularly valuable, and if such an error were found on an uncirculated 1984 cent with strong doubling, it would be considered an extraordinary discovery. Broad strike errors further add to the range of possibilities, happening when the retaining collar fails to engage and allows the metal to spread outward during striking, creating a wider than normal coin with flattened rims and distorted lettering. While broad strikes alone are collectible, a 1984 penny that combines a broad strike with a bold double die would represent a rare convergence of mechanical failures. Rotated die errors are another fascinating category. These occur when the obverse and reverse dies are misaligned, causing the reverse design to appear rotated relative to the obverse. Minor rotations are relatively common and often ignored, but extreme rotations approaching 90 or 180 degrees are highly sought after, especially when paired with other dramatic errors. Planchet-related mistakes also play a major role in the $8 million valuation discussion. During the early 1980s, pennies were struck on zinc cores with a thin copper plating, and inconsistencies in this process sometimes resulted in lamination errors where the copper layer failed to bond properly to the zinc core, leading to peeling, flaking, or bubbling surfaces. Genuine mint-caused lamination errors are visually striking and clearly different from post-mint damage when authenticated, and a large original lamination on a 1984 cent preserved in mint state condition would significantly enhance its desirability. Off-metal strikes represent another extraordinary possibility, involving coins struck on planchets intended for other denominations or compositions. While extremely rare, such errors have occurred and produce coins with unusual weight, color, and sound. A 1984 cent struck on the wrong planchet would immediately stand out and command intense attention. Struck-through errors add further intrigue, occurring when foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, or metal debris becomes trapped between the die and planchet during striking, leaving areas of missing detail or ghostly impressions. Some struck-through grease errors are so extensive that they soften Lincoln's face or obscure parts of the design, creating a surreal and captivating appearance. Die breaks and cuts further expand the list of possibilities. These occur when a die cracks or breaks during use, leaving raised blobs, lines, or missing sections of design on the coin. Large cuts that remove parts of the rim or lettering are especially dramatic and rare, and when paired with other major errors they create coins that tell a vivid story of mechanical stress and failure. Condition remains one of the most critical factors in determining value, because even the rarest error loses much of its impact if it is heavily worn or damaged, whereas a pristine mint state example preserves every detail exactly as it left the press. Top-graded 1984 error cents certified by major grading services become elite collectibles, and population data often shows that the finest known examples are unique or nearly unique, which naturally drives competition among serious collectors. Provenance adds another powerful layer of value. As a coin with a documented discovery story, early certification, and traceable ownership history becomes more than just metal, it becomes a piece of numismatic history. Stories of 1984 pennies discovered in circulation, carefully examined, and later authenticated as major errors continue to inspire collectors and fuel interest. The psychological appeal of an $8 million penny is immense, because it reinforces the idea that mistakes can create value and that perfection is not always the most desirable outcome. Collectors are drawn to error coins because they represent moments when the system failed just enough to allow something unique to exist. Global demand further amplifies this appeal, as collectors from around the world compete for the rarest and most iconic errors, turning local finds into international sensations. Media coverage, online discussions, and auction speculation all contribute to the growing legend of the 1984 1 cent. Even hypothetical scenarios and rumored discoveries keep interest alive and encourage people to search through old jars and inherited collections. The educational impact is equally significant, as learning about the 1984 penny teaches collectors about minting technology, die production, metallurgy, and the difference between genuine errors and damage, empowering them to make informed decisions. The emotional thrill of discovering a rare error coin cannot be overstated, because it represents patience, knowledge, and a touch of luck coming together in a powerful way. The story of the 1984 1 cent continues to evolve as new examples are studied and new discoveries are made, reminding us that history often hides in plain sight and that even the most common objects can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. So the next time you see a penny dated 1984, take a moment to look closely at its details, examine Lincoln's features, the lettering, the strike, and the surface, because within that familiar copper-colored coin could lie a story of mechanical error, human oversight, and incredible value. A reminder that sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest dreams, and that treasure is not always buried deep underground but can be waiting quietly in the palm of your hand. Last 2014 D1 cent. Today we are thrilled to welcome you into another fascinating exploration that proves even the newest coins can hold unbelievable secrets, because we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 2014 D1 cent. A modern penny struck at the Denver Mint that under extremely rare and specific circumstances can reach a staggering value of up to $9 million due to extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and rare possibilities that have stunned collectors and sparked intense interest across the numismatic world. And as you stay with us through this entire journey, you may find yourself looking at modern pennies with a completely new sense of excitement and curiosity. The year 2014 might feel like yesterday to many people, which is exactly why the idea of a $9 million penny from this era seems almost impossible. Yet modern coins are produced at incredible speeds using complex technology, and when billions of coins are struck, even the smallest deviation can create a rare anomaly that slips through unnoticed. The Denver Mint in 2014 was producing enormous quantities of 1 cent coins to meet circulation demand, and during this high-volume production environment subtle mechanical failures, die issues, and human oversights occasionally occurred, leading to the creation of error coins that today form the foundation of the 2014 D penny legend. one of the most important contributors to the extreme valuation is the existence of rare doubled die errors, true doubled dies that occurred during the die hubbing process rather than post-strike machine doubling. These doubled dies show clear and rounded separation in design elements such as the date, the word Liberty, the motto, and even Lincoln's facial features, and on the most dramatic examples the doubling is strong enough to be visible without magnification, which is exceptionally rare for modern sense, because quality control and improved die-making techniques usually prevent such errors from reaching circulation. When a double die does escape in the modern era, it becomes instantly desirable, and a 2014 D double die sent in pristine condition can command enormous attention, especially when the doubling is bold and well defined. Another powerful factor that drives the potential value upward is the possibility of off-center strikes, where the planchet was improperly positioned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing while the rest remains sharply detailed. Extreme off-center strikes that still show a full date and mint mark are particularly valuable because they are instantly identifiable and visually dramatic, and if such an error occurred on a 2014 D cent, it would represent a rare failure in an otherwise highly automated system. Broad strike errors further add to the mystique, occurring when the retaining collar fails to engage during striking and allows the metal to spread outward, creating a wider than normal coin with distorted rims and stretched lettering. While broad strikes are known in modern coinage, they are far less common than in earlier decades, and a sharply struck 2014 D broad strike in uncirculated condition would already be valuable, but when combined with another major error such as a double die, the value multiplies dramatically. Rotated die errors are another fascinating possibility. These occur when the obverse and reverse dies are misaligned, resulting in a coin where the reverse appears rotated relative to the obverse. Minor rotations are fairly common and often ignored, but extreme rotations approaching 90 or even 180 degrees are highly collectible, and in the modern era such dramatic rotations are far rarer than they were in the past, making a 2014 D rotated die cent especially intriguing. Planchet-related errors also play a major role in the $9 million valuation discussion. Modern pennies are struck on zinc planchets with a thin copper plating, and inconsistencies in this process can lead to dramatic lamination errors where the copper layer fails to bond properly to the zinc core, resulting in peeling, bubbling, or flaking surfaces. Genuine mint-caused lamination errors are visually striking and clearly distinct from post-mint damage when authenticated, and a 2014 D cent with a large original lamination error preserved in mint state condition would be considered extremely rare. Off-metal strikes represent another extraordinary category, involving coins struck on planchets intended for other denominations or foreign coinage. While modern mint technology is designed to prevent such mismatches, they are not impossible, and when they occur they produce coins with incorrect weight, unusual color, and different acoustic properties. A 2014 D cent struck on the wrong planchet would be a sensational discovery, and if paired with another major error it could become one of the most valuable modern pennies ever known. Struck-through errors also contribute to the story, occurring when foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, or metal shavings become trapped between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving areas of missing detail or ghostly impressions. Some struck-through grease errors are extensive enough to obscure Lincoln's face or soften major design elements, creating a surreal appearance that collectors find fascinating. Die breaks and cuts further expand the range of possibilities. These occur when a die cracks or breaks during use, leaving raised blobs, lines, or missing sections of design on the struck coin. Major die breaks that dramatically alter the appearance of the coin are far rarer than minor cracks, and a large cut on a 2014 D cent would represent a notable mechanical failure, especially when combined with other errors. Condition is absolutely critical in pushing values into the millions, because even the rarest error loses much of its appeal if it is heavily worn or damaged, whereas a mint state example preserves every detail exactly as it left the press. Top-graded 2014 D error cents certified by leading grading services become elite collectibles, and population reports often show that the finest known examples are unique or nearly unique, which naturally drives intense competition among high-end collectors. Provenance adds another powerful layer of value. As a coin with a documented discovery story, early certification, and traceable ownership history becomes far more desirable than an anonymous example. stories of modern pennies pulled from circulation and later revealed to be extraordinary errors capture the imagination and add emotional weight to the coin's identity. The psychological appeal of a $9 million modern penny is enormous, because it challenges the belief that only old coins can be valuable and reinforces the idea that hidden treasures still exist in everyday life. Media attention, online forums, and social platforms amplify this excitement, spreading images and speculation at lightning speed and turning a single discovery into a global conversation. International demand further fuels value, as collectors from around the world compete for the rarest modern-era coins, pushing prices higher through competition. The 2014 D1 cent also benefits from its position in a technologically advanced era, because errors from this period are far scarcer than those from earlier decades, making each genuine anomaly more significant. The $9 million figure represents the absolute upper extreme, reserved for a perfect storm example combining multiple major errors, exceptional condition, historical significance, and strong provenance. Such a coin would likely be unique and nearly impossible to replace, making it priceless to the right buyer. Even lesser error examples command impressive premiums, reinforcing the idea that value exists on a spectrum and that not every 2014 D penny is valuable, but those that deviate dramatically from the norm hold immense potential. This possibility has created a modern treasure hunt, inspiring people to check their spare change, bank rolls, and collections with renewed enthusiasm. The educational impact is profound, as learning about the 2014 D penny teaches collectors about modern minting technology, quality control, metallurgy, and the importance of professional authentication, empowering them to distinguish genuine errors from damage. The emotional thrill of discovering a rare modern error coin is unmatched, because it represents knowledge, patience, and luck coming together in a remarkable way. The story of the 2014 D1 cent continues to grow as new discoveries are made and speculation evolves, reminding us that history is still being created every day and that even the newest coins can carry incredible stories. So the next time you see a penny dated 2014 with a small d beneath the date, take a closer look, examine the strike, the surfaces, and the details, because within that familiar modern coin could lie a story of mechanical failure, human oversight, and extraordinary value, a powerful reminder that treasure does not always come from the distant past but can emerge from the present moment, hiding quietly in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to recognize its true worth.